I'm not even sure how to start this, but I guess I need to. My mind is still in pieces over what happened. I've spent the last few weeks trying to make sense of things, trying to understand how the woman I've loved for nearly a decade turned out to be someone I don't even recognize anymore. We've been married for 6 years, together for 9. My wife, Mel, not her real name, but close enough, was charming, magnetic even. The kind of woman who could make you feel like the most interesting person in the room just by looking at you. I fell hard, like most people did around her. She had this presence. A little dramatic, sure, but I chalked it up to passion. Looking back now, the signs were there. Late-night texts she claimed were from her cousin, phone calls she always took in another room, the girl trips that were just a little too frequent and always ended with her being oddly defensive and irritable for a few days. I used to think I was just insecure, that maybe I had trust issues. She told me that constantly. In fact, "You need to trust more," she'd say. "Your paranoia is going to ruin this marriage." So I believed her. I backed off. I buried those nagging feelings. I told myself, she wouldn't lie. She loves you. But everything changed when I found the book. It was a simple leather-bound journal. I found it by accident when I was reorganizing our bookshelves in the office. I wasn't snooping. I swear to God, I wasn't. It fell behind the bottom shelf, and I pulled it out, thinking it was one of those novelty quote books or maybe an old diary. It wasn't hidden well, just out of sight enough not to draw attention. Curiosity got the better of me. That first page still haunts me. It read, "Rule number 1, lie confidently. He always believes the first story." I froze. I remember standing there, journal in hand, heart pounding in my ears. The handwriting was hers. The neat, looping cursive I'd seen in birthday cards, grocery lists, love notes. Beneath that rule were bullet points. Names, places, dates, things I didn't understand at first. But I would. Oh, I would. I wish I'd closed the book. I wish I'd put it back behind the shelf and walked away. But once you see a crack in something you thought was solid, your mind starts picking at it. And that's exactly what I did. The second page was worse. Rule number 2, never apologize first. It gives away power. Beneath that, a list of fights we'd had. Real, actual fights from our marriage. Arguments I thought were just bumps in the road. I saw my name. The dates. Her strategy in each one. February 13th. Brought up his tone first. Circled it back to his mom. Win. April 21st. Guilt trip worked after I cried. Should remember to keep eye drops on hand next time. There was even one labeled birthday fight. That one hit hard. I remembered it so clearly because I had cried that night. I actually cried. I thought I had snapped at her unfairly during dinner and felt like the world's worst husband. She wrote, pushed him until he snapped. Success. Made him apologize for not taking me out of town. Ended up getting the spa weekend. What the hell was I reading? I sat down on the floor and kept flipping through. I didn't want to, but I had to. Page after page, more rules, more breakdowns of our marriage like it was some game. Some manipulative business plan. That's when I started noticing the names. See, Marty, Jonah. She had initials or nicknames beside journal entries. None of them were mine. One read, Jonah, May 7th. Excuse, yoga retreat. He's better in bed than I expected. He's married, but who isn't? Winky face. I felt sick. I remember literally gagging. It was like my stomach had turned to cement. Jonah, yoga retreat. That was this year. I remember that week. I stayed home and worked double shifts so she could focus on herself. She came home with that fake glow. Sunburned and rejuvenated. I even took her out to dinner the night she got back because I missed her so damn much. I was so stupid. And this was only page 9. The deeper I went into the book, the more twisted it got. She had sections labeled like the gaslight index and deflection drills. I'm not even kidding. It was like reading a tactical playbook for psychological warfare. One page literally had, when he gets too curious, blame work stress, accuse him of not supporting your independence, cry if necessary, use his dad against him, you're acting just like him, effective. I sat there in disbelief. This wasn't just cheating. This wasn't just lies. This was a calculated manipulation campaign, and I hadn't even seen it. I thought she was complex, passionate, emotional. Turns out, she was just strategic as hell. And here's where it got really weird. There were sections where she rated people. Risk versus reward. She gave each man a score. I found my name. D. Husband. Pays for everything. Emotionally consistent. Hasn't cheated. Boring in bed. Too forgiving. Snoops when anxious. Watch him more. I laughed when I read that. Not because it was funny, because my brain short-circuited. I had literally never snooped before this moment. And the one time I stumble across something by accident, I unlock the freaking Necronomicon of infidelity. She also had little codes I still don't fully understand. Stuff like, warning Marty equals drunk liability. Don't meet locally again. Moneybag Tyler equals gift guy. Keep sweet-talking. Crossmark Leon equals clingy. Said he'd leave wife. Abort mission. I was shaking. And then I heard the front door open. She was home. I panicked, slammed the book shut, and stuffed it under the couch cushion. I didn't know what to do. I was full-on trembling. Not angry yet. Not sad. Just disoriented. She walked into the living room, smiled at me, kissed my cheek, and said, "Hey babe, you organizing again? So cute. So cute." I almost threw up. I couldn't look at her the same after that kiss. I don't even know how I managed to sit through dinner. She was laughing, sipping wine, telling me about how some coworker wore mismatched shoes and how her boss was in such a mood. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there across from her, replaying her little check marks and coded entries in my head, trying to remember which yoga trip was which affair, wondering if I was ever in the picture at all, or just a reliable wallet with a beating heart. She looked so normal, so composed, so her. That's what killed me. How she could be that fake, that smooth. After dinner, I told her I was tired. She smiled and said, "Of course, babe. Get some rest." Like I was a pet. She went into the bathroom to brush her teeth, and I went straight back to the couch. Pulled out the book. I was desperate to find something redeeming. Some hint of guilt. A regret. Anything that told me she was still human. Instead, I found a new section. How to reset him after a close call. I swear to you, she knew I'd almost caught on before. She even dated the entry. Last month, got too flirty with texts. Think he noticed something off. Solution, cried about miscarriage scare. Worked. Went to bed cuddling me after. That was me. That was my heartbreak. She told me she might be pregnant. Then said she thought she was losing it. I stayed up with her all night. Held her. Told her I'd support her through anything. It was a lie. The whole thing. Fabricated to cover up cheating. That was the moment something snapped in me. I put the book back under the couch and walked to the bathroom door. "Hey Mel," I called out, as evenly as I could. "Want some tea?" She peeked out, toothpaste on her lips. "Ah yeah? That sounds nice." So I smiled. I smiled like I wasn't dying inside. Because now I had a plan. That night, I couldn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling, feeling like the walls of my life were caving in. Her breathing beside me was calm, peaceful, even had that little snore she does when she's totally relaxed. I used to find that cute. Now it made my skin crawl. I realized something while lying there. She thought I was stupid. She wasn't even careful. She thought I'd never catch on. That she could play me like a fool forever. But I'm not stupid. Just slow to catch up. So the next morning, I started documenting everything. Dates, details, photos of the journal pages. I bought a burner phone and scanned every entry I could, taking pictures discreetly while she was out running errands or working late. I backed up everything to a private cloud I knew she couldn't access. And I started reaching out to people, quietly. Marty? Married. His wife picked up when I called his number from a fake Facebook ad inquiry. We talked. She cried. Then she told me Mel had told him she was separated and that I was controlling. Classic. I didn't go full confrontation yet. I wasn't ready. I was still shaking most days, still pretending around her, still playing house. But inside, a storm was building. She started to sense something was off. I wasn't reacting the way I usually did. When she snapped at me about a weird charge on the credit card, I just said, "You're probably right." She blinked. Confused. I started sleeping on the couch more often. Claimed I had back pain. She tried to joke her way in, say stuff like, "You're not mad at me, are you?" In that little girl voice she used when she wanted to defuse tension. I just smiled. No, just tired. She had no idea I was counting down. And then I made my own entry, on the last page of the book. Rule number 0. Never assume your victim can't become your judge. It didn't take long before she started unraveling. The first real crack showed up on a random Tuesday night. I was making dinner, her favorite, mushroom risotto, and she walked into the kitchen looking uneasy. "Mel, you've been quiet lately. Everything okay?" Me? "Yeah, just thinking about work stuff." Mel, you sure? You're not. I don't know. Distant. She said it with a nervous laugh, like she was fishing without trying to look like she was fishing. I just smiled and kissed her on the forehead. You're imagining things. The irony, right? Her eyes lingered on me for a second. She was trying to read me, and for once, she couldn't. She was used to me being transparent, reactive, easy to manipulate. But now, I gave her nothing. That's when her behavior started changing. She got nicer. Like, creepy nice. Suddenly, she was making me coffee in the morning, folding my laundry, giving me long, unprompted compliments about how loyal I was and how rare that is in men. One night, she even started crying at the dinner table. I didn't ask why. I just watched. Because you don't comfort the spider when it senses the web's collapsing. Then one night, she left her phone on the counter and went to shower. She never leaves her phone alone. That thing might as well be welded to her hip. So I looked. There wasn't much there. Mostly deleted threads. But one recent one stood out. Tyler Moneybag. Yep. Still active. The last message she sent him? Things are getting weird here. I think he knows something. Let's not meet this week. I laughed. Out loud. Alone in my kitchen. I guess I should have been heartbroken. But by that point, I'd moved past sadness. I was on a whole different level. Detached. Almost amused. I wasn't watching a wife anymore. I was watching a liar try to control a fire that was burning out of her hands. I made a new entry in my copy of the scan journal. She's scared now. That's a first. She had no idea the fuse was already lit. She always had a flair for the dramatic. But this was her Oscar attempt. It started with her saying she wasn't feeling well. Nausea, exhaustion, mood swings. The whole, maybe I'm pregnant routine. Again. She waited until a weekend morning, when I was making coffee, to hit me with it. Mel, there's a chance I might be pregnant. I swear she looked right into my eyes when she said it, checking for any flicker of panic or relief. I didn't give her either. Me? That's so. Mel? Yeah. You don't seem surprised. Me? I guess we'll find out soon enough. She blinked. That wasn't the script she expected me to read from. I didn't jump up to hold her. I didn't even ask her how she felt about it. I just stirred my coffee and walked away. That same night, I found a new entry in her journal. Yep, I had started checking it daily at that point. She wasn't even hiding it well anymore. It was back in the office, in the drawer she used for tax stuff. The new entry read, tried pregnancy card again. Didn't land the same. He's cold, watching me like he knows more than he says. Starting to think I should pivot to apology strategy. Apology strategy? 2 days later, she sat me down on the couch like she was about to read me a bedtime story. She got that fake soft voice she uses when she's trying to sell sincerity. Mel, I want to talk to you about us. I know I haven't been the best wife lately. I waited. Mel, there are things I need to be honest about. Emotional things. I've had feelings of confusion. And maybe, once or twice, I let myself emotionally connect with someone else when I felt disconnected from you. But it wasn't physical. Oh my God. She was actually trying to confess selectively. She didn't know I already had photographic evidence of Jonah's hotel room booking, of text messages between her and Tyler saying, "Your mouth should be illegal," smiling face with Hornsta, of her own notes calling me boring in bed. So I nodded slowly and said, "Thanks for telling me. I know that took guts." She looked relieved. She had no idea that the apology she thought would save her was about to be the rope I used to walk away for good. After her little half-confession, she acted like we'd hit some kind of relationship reset button. She kissed me more, wore lingerie to bed twice in 1 week, which hadn't happened since year 2 of the marriage. She made dinner, rubbed my shoulders, laughed too loud at my bad jokes. It was all so forced, like she was playing the role of good wife in a play she hadn't rehearsed in years. But I smiled through it. I played my part too, because while she was buttering toast, I was buttering up a divorce lawyer. The thing about being called boring in bed in your wife's secret manipulation journal, it makes you laser-focused, cold, efficient. I met with a lawyer named Rebecca, sharp as hell, zero nonsense. I showed her the journal entries, the photos, the message screenshots. I even played a voicemail Mel left Tyler, where she said, "I wish I could fall asleep next to you instead. I hate pretending." Rebecca blinked once and said, "This won't be a fight. It'll be a dismantling." She gave me a list. Copy of our joint finances, white heavy checkmark. Asset breakdown, white heavy checkmark. Photos of the journal, white heavy check mark. Secure personal bank account, white heavy check mark. Rent a short-term apartment, white heavy check mark. Do not confront until papers are ready, white heavy check mark. And then she added, whatever you do, don't tip your hand too early. You're in control right now. That was a new feeling. For years, I had let Mel define the emotional temperature of our home. If she was moody, I backed off. If she was cold, I blamed myself. If she lied, I convinced myself I was imagining things. But now, I felt something close to peace. Because I finally knew the truth. She had built a marriage on a game board, and now I was flipping the whole table. It was a Sunday morning. Calm. Sunlight coming through the kitchen window. Birds doing their bird thing. Mel humming some old Florence and the Machine song, while making avocado toast like we were a couple in a damn Pinterest ad. Perfect setting for destruction. I had it all ready in a slim manila folder sitting on the kitchen counter. Inside, copies of the journal entries, screenshots, dates, her texts with Tyler, Jonah, Marty, and the others. A summary Rebecca helped draft, with divorce papers neatly on top. I waited until she turned around to pour her orange juice. Hey Mel, I said, can you take a look at something? She turned, still smiling, holding her juice like it was just another lazy Sunday with her doormat husband. She opened the folder. I watched her face drop in stages. At first, confusion, then recognition, then fear. She flipped through a few pages, faster now, and then slammed it shut. Mel, what the F*** is this? Asterisk. Me. The script you forgot I was reading. She went pale. Mel, you were spying on me? Oh, that old trick. Me. You wrote it all down, Mel. I didn't spy. I read. She looked like she was going to scream. Then cry. But neither happened. Just silence. She stared at the folder like it was burning a hole in the table. Mel, so what now? I sipped my coffee. Me, now? You sign. You leave. And I don't torch what's left of your reputation. Or send screenshots to Tyler's wife. Or Jonah's boss. Or Marty's entire church Facebook group. She was shaking now. This woman, who had graded me like a spreadsheet, rated my emotional usefulness like a rental car, faked a pregnancy scare and fabricated miscarriages for sympathy, was suddenly afraid. I'd never seen her like that. And the crazy part? I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel angry. I felt nothing. I had already buried the version of her I loved. This was just the paperwork. The days after I dropped that folder on the table were the worst and the strangest of my life. Mel went from icy silence to a full-on emotional storm, cycling between tears, rage, and desperate apologies. She texted me things I never thought I'd hear from her. Please don't do this. I made mistakes, but I love you. You don't know the whole story. We can fix this. I listened. I nodded. I kept my distance. What surprised me most was how quickly her mask cracked. One evening, I caught her staring at herself in the mirror, mouthing words like she was rehearsing a speech. When I asked her what she was doing, she snapped. Don't look at me like that. That shattered me a little, honestly, because for the first time, I saw the real her, vulnerable, scared, and lost without the lies to hide behind. But the trust was gone, and I realized that's what hurts the most. Not the betrayal itself, but the knowing that the person you thought you loved was someone else entirely. I began to grieve, not just for the marriage, but for the illusions I'd held on to for so long. Once the dust settled, I had a lot of quiet time to think. Too much, honestly. The house felt hollow without the constant tension and lies. At first, I replayed every moment, every smile, every argument, wondering where it all went wrong. It was like reading a book with the ending ripped out. But slowly, I stopped blaming myself. I started remembering who I was before Mel rewrote my story. I took up running again, not to escape, but to clear my head. Felt the wind and the rhythm of my steps for the first time in years. I reconnected with friends I'd ignored, made new ones, even picked up an old hobby, painting, which she used to mock. Therapy helped, too. I learned it's okay to feel angry, sad, or confused. That acceptance isn't about forgetting, but about making peace with the truth. Mel? We finalized the divorce quietly. No drama, no shouting matches, just signatures and goodbyes. But the biggest lesson? Trust your gut. If something feels off, don't ignore it. And don't lose yourself trying to save someone who's already gone. If you're reading this because you're in a relationship that feels like it's unraveling, listen up. Trust your instincts. When the small things don't add up, don't brush them aside. That gut feeling is usually your subconscious piecing together clues. Keep a record. I never imagined I'd need a journal or screenshots to protect myself, but those little details made all the difference. Don't ignore red flags. Constant lying, secretive behavior, emotional distance. They're not just phases. They're signals. Seek support. Whether it's friends, family, or a therapist, you don't have to face this alone. Value yourself. No matter how much you love someone, don't lose your sense of worth trying to fix a broken person. Plan carefully if you leave. It's a business and an emotional battle. Don't rush. Get legal advice. Protect yourself. I wish I'd known these things earlier. But hindsight is a cruel teacher. Still, I'm better for it. Stronger. Wiser. The day after signing the divorce papers, I woke up feeling lighter. No guilt. No doubt. Just a strange, peaceful emptiness that I hadn't felt in years. I spent the day doing little things I hadn't done in forever. Cooking breakfast just for me. Binge-watching dumb TV shows. Reorganizing my messy closet. It was like reclaiming a piece of myself that had been buried under all the chaos. I started setting small goals. Joining a gym, calling old friends, taking a weekend trip by myself. Every step felt awkward, like learning to walk again. But each one brought a tiny spark of hope. It wasn't instant happiness, more like permission to heal. And for the first time, I could see a future without the lies, without the pretending. Life threw me a few curveballs, but also some surprises I never saw coming. Without the constant stress of trying to keep Mel's lies from swallowing me whole, I found new energy to pursue things I'd shelved. A friend invited me to join a local writing group, something I joked about wanting to do but never took seriously. Turns out, I wasn't half bad. I started volunteering at a community center, helping teens improve their English. Funny how teaching others helped me find my own voice again. And then, out of nowhere, I got a call from an old colleague about a job opportunity one hadn't applied for, but was perfect for me. It felt like the universe was giving me a second chance, reminding me that endings often pave the way for new beginnings. I still have bad days. I still wrestle with the past. But now, I'm learning to live for myself, not for anyone else's script. Looking back, I never thought I'd be the guy sharing a story like this on Reddit. But here I am, hoping maybe someone out there finds a sliver of light in my mess. Mel wasn't just a wife who lied. She was a lesson, one that hurt like hell but taught me more about myself than years of happy marriage ever did. Here's what I've learned. People show you who they really are, believe it the first time. The lies, the manipulation, the secret lives, they're not about you, even if it feels that way. They're about their own issues. You can survive betrayal and come out stronger. It's not about forgetting or forgiving immediately. It's about reclaiming your life on your own terms. Self-respect is your greatest shield. Protect it fiercely. No relationship is worth losing yourself. Closure doesn't always come from the other person. It comes from within. Accept the truth, grieve, and then let go. New beginnings are real. Even if your world feels like it's crashing, there's always a way forward. If you're stuck in a toxic relationship or wrestling with betrayal, know this: you are not alone. It sucks. It's painful, but you will get through it. Thanks for reading. And if you have questions or want to share your own story, I'm here.